But welcome to Caribbean Thought. Welcome. Happy New Year, guys. This semester, I want to use the online portal a lot. I want you guys to take advantage of the online portal, use the communicate on the portal, engage on the portal, ask questions, post stuff. Try engage with the portal, the JTS online portal, as much as you can. I have taught this class before. Many of the lectures are recorded. I have over 20 episodes of Caribbean Thought. So you can go in, you can check around for this. It's available on Spotify, YouTube, Apple, Google Podcasts, iTunes, iHeartRadio. If you type in Renaldo McKenzie Caribbean Thought, and you see it start to populate. But you can go to YouTube as well, where we have a lot of the lectures available. In fact, there is a playlist that shows all the lectures for last year. And a lot of the information from those class that time, we're going to use again because it's still relevant, especially one about corruption. When we had this class previously in 2019, 2020, there was never discussion about corruption, but I think corruption is very important when you discuss Caribbean Thought, because Caribbean Thought, you might say, oh, we're blaming external people for Caribbean issues, because we talk about the fact that Caribbean has been uncompetitive since independence. We talk about that's part one of the themes we pick up in this class. We talk about crime and violence, income inequality and poverty. We talk about the organizational dynamic of the Caribbean family, and how do you understand Caribbean family and Caribbean experiences? Is it unique to one particular island, or can we find some kind of are they connected in any way? But when you study the Caribbean arrangement, Caribbean theology, whether our arrangement and our theology, maybe that has held us back, or how we view Caribbean theology is one of disdain that has been inherited from a Eurocentrism that has been ingrained in the Caribbean experience. We talk about that. We talk about, but what's the Caribbean? If the Caribbean is an invention of the 21st century, will it be moving from the 21st century? We said the Caribbean is an invention. What do we mean? We're going to talk about that. We're going to own in on that in this class. The Caribbean is an invention. What does that mean? We got independence. We're not an invention. The Caribbean is an invention. If the Caribbean is an invention, then it means who is our inventor? Okay, and who are we invented to be? Caribbean thought is part of the study of societies. It's part of the humanities. We study society, and when we study society, you ask the question, in whose interest is the society set up? Because then we will be suspicious of reality. The reality that you have now, how much credence can you give to it being a reality of an existence outside of any man-made fixtures that we have come to associate with the divine, which many have used to create complicit individuals who are agreeing and living within the confines of the position in life. We talk about the Caribbean is lacking in resources. Why? If in 1957 Jamaica had bauxite, if Guyana has always had oil, how is Guyana's oil the hope for today? We will make the point. Wherever you find Black people, there is poverty. Doesn't matter where you go, whether in Jamaica, a global South country or developing country, or in the US, the UK, France, or Germany, post-industrial countries, wherever you find a preponderance of Black and brown people, there you will find lack. There you will find discrimination. There you will find the Black position. Why is that the case? We will delve into some of that in the class. Of course, we will. The course is part of critical thinking, but the course is also part of liberal studies. Liberal studies is about lift up issues of ethics and human value. We will talk of okay, the course is not about Jamaica, it's not Jamaican thought. So we will force ourselves to consider not just Jamaican issues, but Caribbean concepts. Okay. And not only that, but as Caribbean people, we want to contribute to thought. Okay, not we won't be thermometers because we of our vulnerability and our size, but we want to be thermostats, people who regulate and contribute to academia, contribute to thought, and contribute to the development of society. And it is by developing a kind of thinking that forces us to think deeply. And I would have done a particular lecture today, talking about what is critical thinking, because in this course we do a lot of thinking. This course is part of, you hear people talk about critical race theory. It's not critical race theory, but it is part, but it does some kind of critical race thinking, critical race theory, although it is not just critical race theory. We consider we're not just thinking about race. But of course, we will talk about the dynamics of race, because part of the Caribbean, part of the invention of the Caribbean, part of the Caribbean coming to be, okay, is involves a racial dynamic in society. We will talk about Fanon in his book Black Skins, White Mask, and in his book The Wretched of the Earth. He says the Negro is not any more than the white man. That was from the 1960s. Does that pertain today? We will talk about that. And the world today, we will also talk about what is happening in the world today. Okay, what is happening in the world today with the rise in extremism? And of course, we talk about the Caribbean, and in particular, when we talk about Caribbean thought, we talk about where is the Caribbean, the position of the Caribbean, the place of the Caribbean. And I said to people, Caribbean is not just, when you look at the Caribbean is also part of the Americas. And I said to people, the Caribbean is part of the Americas. The Caribbean is an America. The Caribbean is America. But it is an America. It's part of the Americas. It is the offshoot. It is a mass of land, okay, that extends from the mainland, but it is still part of the American experience, and it's part of the New World. Yes. So but those are some of the exciting things we hope to delve into as we begin the class this semester. All right, and I hope you guys delve into it. But I sent a message in the text. There are two things I want us to consider for the next when we come back. We're going to review this. I'm going to stop here now. When we come back, and then by next week, we'll know who's going to be in the class and so on and so forth. I emailed you guys the syllabus. Spend the time to review the syllabus. Spend the time to also look over some of the videos that we have, but you'd have to look over everything, because I'm going to change the syllabus a little bit as we go on. But if you see coursework there for you guys, I'm going to cut down the coursework. I'm only going to give you 3 pieces of coursework and then the exam. That's it. Okay, so you only get 3 pieces of work to do and then the exam. But I like to give people reflection paper. Because reflection paper, which is kind of, it helps with the grading, because it sometimes, especially in online courses like this, people don't do the reading and the assignments. So when you ask people to do reflection papers, it really helps them to get into the course. It's a way to get you into the course. So I might ask you to do reflection papers. There is a study that I am conducting which looks at the changing attitudes towards Afro-Caribbean beliefs, which is a study that was developed in the last Caribbean Thought and Theology courses last year. We will do it again. We will consider that for this semester. We will continue that. So I will talk to you guys about that next week, looking at changing attitudes towards Afro-Caribbean beliefs. A study that I'm conducting that I want you guys to be a part of as well. But we will talk some more about that. But those are some of the initial reflections for I won't. Jessica is here. That I see. Welcome, Jessica. Danielle joined the class. Welcome, Danielle. And we're not having a lot. We're going to end right here. Yes, we're going to. We don't have enough. We don't. I'm not sure how many people are going to be in the class, but I emailed you. If you did not get an email if you did not register for the class before now, or haven't registered yet, then you may have missed some emails. Good afternoon. Yes, so I will send you. Check your email. Check your inboxes for the.
Sir,
Yeah, go ahead.
I would have said that I don't think I got the email. I registered in registering. They had registered me for Caribbean theology, and
Oh,
so about yesterday or the day before, I had replied to them about the correction. So, I know I wouldn't have
oh.
gotten that email.
So you wouldn't,
It
right? You
was,
wouldn't.
yeah,
Oh, you wouldn't have gotten the email, and you would not have gotten the. And you don't have access to Caribbean Thought for this semester, so you don't see the
right,
stuff. Okay.
right.
I will send you the email. Send me your email. I think I already have it. I've sent you an email before. I think I have. I remember seeing you before. Have I?
Yes, you
Have you?
had, sir.
Okay,
Right.
so not
Yes.
either. I'll
So
send
I
you
had
the
the
email.
course last semester and I had dropped it.
Yes, right. You had dropped. Okay, fine. So I think I have your email. I'll send you the email.
Right.
And next week we will have a full class, and I will. The only thing I'm expecting for you guys to do now is just to look at the Gleaner article that discusses have we misunderstood our heritage. Don't just read the article. Also read the comments the comments to the article, because there was a lot of back and forth and comments, and it was really good. So I wrote the article actually, and then there was a lot of comments to the article. The textbook for this semester is this. This is the textbook, right? This is a good book. You guys got to get this book. I don't know how you're gonna get it, but this is the textbook for the course this semester, and it's great. You guys are gonna enjoy the reading. It's written by one of your own professors, and I like that. And there's another book I need to add. This Dr. Jeffries, who's part of the humanities department. I'm going to try my best to include as many professors' books, professors from Jamaica and the Caribbean experience, because we want to promote them and promote their work, promote academics from the subaltern. You're gonna learn the word. Maybe you guys know that already. It's called the subaltern. What is the subaltern? Talk about history from below. People who are affected by the very history that people are writing about, the subaltern. In the book, Neoliberalism, Globalization, Income Inequality, Poverty, and Resistance, the preface says, when we hear of Jamaica or the Caribbean, we think of beautiful islands of paradise with sun, sea, sand, reggae music, cannabis, and irie people like Usain Bolt. People who are living out their best dreams, desires, and lives. But this book analyzes this motif. Given the historical and current economic and political situation in Jamaica and the Caribbean and the global South. In an attempt to escape the adverse realities of poverty, inequality, and injustice, the people of the global South, and when we talk about the global South, we talk about developing countries or emerging economies or former colonized countries, developing countries, the global North. They find themselves in North metropolises with very little agency and minimal change to their lives. In fact, except for the use of cleaning neoliberal waste, the immigrant from the global South is usually portrayed as an alien with 3 heads and big sharp teeth, seeking to steal and destroy the profit and disrupt society. As such, we will discuss Black, Brown, and Pan-African struggles for economic prosperity, justice, and freedom, and consider efforts, abilities, or inabilities to chart their own futures since decolonization and realize real political independence and economic prosperity. Perhaps they are charting their own course by the few corrupt of the status quo, who are benefiting from the partnerships with the neoliberal regime of the Washington Consensus. Who is the Washington Consensus? We talk about that. Advocates of the bureaucratic phenomenon. What's the bureaucratic phenomenon? While the masses are left behind. Now, I will stop there. And this particular reading is a 1.5 page reading. It's succinct. When you read a book, people always delve into the first chapter. No, you start with the preface. The preface outlines the idea of the book. It tells you what the book is about. It lays the foundation. It gives you an idea of the author. It considers more. That's where you'll find the thesis statement or the context or the pretext and everything else. Summarizes the argument. But we want to begin there. But yes, so the book is, we'll talk more about the book. I send you an email. It's available on Barnes and Noble, Amazon. You can also get the book in Audible. You can get the book on in ebook as well. Ebook is cheaper, $17. There's a copy, there's one copy or two copies in the library. I'm not sure how many copies are in the library. You can go to Sangster's bookstore and see if they have copies. Kingston, take your syllabus. Take your syllabus with you and said, hey, I'm looking for this book, Neoliberalism, Globalization, Income Inequality, Poverty and Resistance. Now, the book was written by your professor. That would be me. I wrote the book, but it was published in 2021 before I started teaching the course. But it's great that they have asked me to teach it while the book is on the syllabus. There is another book that was going to be part of the syllabus, Father Jeffries, that talks, but talk a look at political and Caribbean philosophy. We also want to look at Garnet Wolper's book that looks at Caribbean theology, and there's another professor, Lewin Williams. There's another book that I want us to explore, Norman Gervin, The Caribbean Reader. Very good book. Caribbean Reader by I don't know. Norman Gervin, I think, is the editor, and it has several different writers. There are some books that you don't even have in Jamaica that's available here in the US, which written by Jamaican scholars who are here in the US, and I'm like, whoa. Say, for example, the democratic, the origins of the social origins of democratic socialism in Jamaica, written by Keith and Novella Nelson. Nelson and Novella Keith at Temple University. Beautiful book, amazing book that looks at Jamaica and the democratic origins of socialist governance, democratic socialism in Jamaica. So they look at that book. Ram Shawan did a book from Trinidad that looks at the structural adjustment policy. I talk about the structural adjustment policy. He talks about the structural adjustment policy, but in a very economic and parochial way. I deal with the subject in a more social, anthropological way, more expansive, not just looking at the economic effects, not just income inequality, but also poverty and the social effects of that. Not just the strategy that goes behind holding Caribbean countries that achieve independence, the strategy that goes behind holding them back. Not just the strategy, but looking at the social realities. One of the points I will make in the class or throughout the course is that and in the book, I'm very suspicious of independence that is granted or freedoms. Freedom that's granted by one human to another human is not real freedom. It means that particular person who granted you your freedom has the ability to grant you freedom, then that man is your God. Caribbean people or Black people and brown people and people who live under oppression should not have to have a ceremony, arranged ceremony, okay, that hands them their freedom. Okay, I will talk about that. What am I talking about? Granted freedoms, where one man who is free, because all men are free. If all men are made free, why am I being granted my freedom by another man? By a paper that can be torn up. We talk about that. Because, we talk about that. Any kind of arranged freedom will always bring with it that human tendency to create opportunities for himself to do other things. We talk about de jure factor and de facto factors of discrimination. We will get into that. That continues today. We talk about the issue of Edith Clark, my mother who fathered me, and she makes some assumptions. I'm critical of her and Rex Nettleford. I'm critical of the book Africa to Africans, because they make assumptions about African identity, about our roots, where now new studies is showing by the Urban Indian Heritage Society is showing that, well, wait, there is something wrong. They have been misclassifying or misrepresenting Caribbean and Black people's identity. Because why? Okay, fine. Yes, we know of our heritage and our connection to Africa, but what of, we were told that the Taino people were all wiped out, but now we are hearing no. Some of the Black people that we have today are direct descendants, or in some way a mixture of the original people, ancient Indians that lived in the Americas, but yet still, but there has been no conversation or discussion in academia that speaks to that. Why is that so? And that is why I want you to read the Gleaner article. Have we misunderstood our heritage? And I've also had the Urban Indian Heritage Society. They will come back to the class this semester. If some of you want to study your roots, want to do research on your roots, to find your roots, you can contact the Urban Indian Heritage Society, because they have a new and unique way of doing that. But they'll be back. They're going to be coming back. We're going to do a presentation on Urban Indian Heritage Society. We will watch the film Life and Death, which is very revolutionary. The film Life and Death talks about structural adjustment policy, but the book Life and Death talks about Jamaica, and we're talking about, and the book Life and Death is, sorry, the film Life and Death is powerful. The film is important in a class like this, even in academia. Film helps to, especially documentary film, because it tells the story that you never see in film. Okay, it tells the story of abuse. It tells the story of discrimination. It gives you the story. And Life and Death talks about structural adjustment and how it affected Jamaica in the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s. But it is a film that is based on a book written by Jamaica Kincaid about Antigua. So it shows that, it goes to show how the experience is connected. Even Sailor James said in an interview that's available on YouTube, he said that he made a reference about Fidel Castro. He said the Cuban Revolution. The Cuban Revolution is synonymous with the revolution in the English-speaking Caribbean. In fact, there is a correlation, a relationship between, well, sorry, what's his name again? Castro, the former president of Fidel Castro, said that when he describes the Black people and the revolution, the struggle for freedom in the Caribbean, he said that we are of Latin Africa. He draws his identity, his heritage with a revolution that was Caribbean, a revolution that was Black or Pan-African. But anyway, we'll talk about the dynamics of that. We'll talk about Latin America as well. We'll consider Cuba. We'll consider Grenada. We'll consider Africa. We'll consider Africa as well. The experience of Caribbean is say for example, we're going to talk about Walter Rodney's book, How Europe Underdeveloped Africa. The same way how Europe underdeveloped Africa is the same way they're trying to underdevelop the Caribbean, or make them into second-class citizens. Okay, but we will consider that. We'll talk about Haiti. We're going to go in depth talking about Haiti. We are also going to have guests coming to the class talking about Haiti. We have done several classes talking about Haiti. The Haitian experience, immigration and brain drain, and so on and so forth. Great topics, powerful topics. It's an election year too. So here in the US, I think it's an election year in Jamaica, right? I believe so. So it's quite an interesting time. We will also, part of what you will be required to do in this class is, read widely, read newspapers, articles, journals, and come to class and engage. And you guys might have done the course Critical Thinking 101. I think I saw it on the syllabus. There's a course here called Critical Thinking. We do a lot of critical thinking in this course. So get ready for Sorry about that, guys. I apologize. I don't know what happened. We lost. I lost connection just now. Are you guys still there? You
Yes,
guys
sir.
are
We're still here.
good. So those are some of the things that we will discuss. Um, those are some of the things that we're going to be doing. And you're going to enjoy the class. I'm passionate about the subject. I study the subject. I write about the subject. Um, I'm unable to join via the link. Please add 876-812-3359. What? Somebody sent a text. What's this about? I saw a chat in the group about somebody being unable to join via the link. I'm unable to
Yeah.
join the link.
Okay,
So
I'll add the person. It's a WhatsApp group.
What's going on?
It's a WhatsApp group. I'm seeing that they are unable to join the link via the link that I sent. So I'll add this person.
Oh, we are okay. Yeah, we normally have a WhatsApp group for this class. Oh, that's good. So somebody's creating a WhatsApp group for this course.
Yes, I have already done it. Sir. That's the link.
What's the name of it?
Caribbean Thought.
No, maybe you should give it Caribbean Thought 2024 or something like that because I have another Caribbean Thought group, so it might confuse me. So if you could edit it and put Caribbean Thought 2024, that'd be great.
Okay, sir.
Who is that? Femlin? Felmin?
Yes, sir.
Or, who that?
Yes, sir. Felmin Rose.
Felmin Rose. But who is
Yes,
the
sir.
person that created the group? The WhatsApp.
Maybe that's the person that was speaking just now. I'm not sure.
Yeah, yeah, but I don't know who was speaking. I'm trying to find who was speaking just now.
Speaking as a what, sir?
Oh, Gavion. It was Gavion. All right, great. So thank you, Gavion. Can you update it to Caribbean Thought 2024?
Yes, sir. It has been updated.
All right, and you can add me as well if you don't mind, and we can talk via WhatsApp as well. That's great. Okay, just so you know. But next week we'll do the introductions. You get to know more about me. You get to know more about each other. We're gonna be working. I'm gonna call this a lab. This is the Caribbean Thought Lab. We're gonna be conducting research. We're gonna be engaging in thought and discussions. Okay, and I'm gonna.
Gabriel, can you mute your mic, please? Sorry.
Repeat.
You can mute your mic for me, please.
Oh, I'm sorry about the background noise.
Yeah, man, you're good. Thank you.
Sorry, something is wrong with I'm not sure what's going on with my system, but we're gonna wrap up now because I have somebody waiting on me. I have an appointment going on right now. But so the two things I want us to next week we'll have a full class. We'll do the introductions, but in the meantime, read the Jamaica Gleaner article. Have we misunderstood our heritage? It's also available on my website, theneoliberal.com, or renaldocmckenzie.com. If you go to theneoliberal.com, that's my website, which has a lot of articles and journals as well, and stories, and you can get that article, or if you go to Jamaica Gleaner, or just go into the search engine and type in "Have we misunderstood our history?" I want you to read not just the letter article, but also the comments underneath, all the comments. Guys, I'm sorry. I'm under a lot of spyware, a lot of attack. Someone, persons have crawled onto my system, has taken over my system. I won't be long. I'm going to stop here. But next week we have a full class. We will email each other back and forth. Peruse the syllabus. We will discuss the syllabus and do introductions next semester, and have the opening lecture. Read Have We Misunderstood Our History, available in the Gleaner, and also look at the lecture, Caribbean Thought Lecture 4. The lecture 4, the full lecture, and the summary lecture. Those two, the full lecture and the summary lecture, which is available on my YouTube channel at youtube.com/@Renaldo McKenzie Caribbean Thought. It's available. And I think I sent it in the chat. But what I sent was Caribbean Thought Lecture 4 summary, but there's also Caribbean Thought, the full lecture. So that's available. Watch it, listen to some of the argument. The question that lecture dealt with is what we're going to start with. Is what is the Caribbean and who determines this? What is the Caribbean and who determines this? We're gonna delve into that. What is the Caribbean and who determines this? Let me see if there's anything else that I need. That's about it. What is going on? No. What is my thing? We stop there. Okay, guys. See you next week. And anything else, just email me, and go on JTS Online Caribbean Thought. Read the messages that I've sent. There was a welcome and introduction and some ideas that you guys can start thinking about. Okay? Walk good and take care.
You too, sir. Bye.
You too, sir. Bye.
Yeah, man. And by the way, you're gonna have this class gonna be amazing as always. You guys, and this is a lab. We have we're gonna do some work, but not a lot of work, because students here work, they're like, oh my God. No, it's not like that. It's good stuff to make us better, okay? That you guys gonna be part of. And the other classes that I've done, I'm still gonna combine their work into one big thing, which what I'm doing, which eventually you guys will be a part of. Okay, guys, that's about it. Take care.
Bye, sir.
Bye.